It's important that you guys, oh, someone remembers. Okay, let's see. Okay. Do you remember?
About merits.
Huh?
Merits.
Well, not exactly. What about Binudi? Do you remember?
Like why you should come to the Dhamma school meeting.
Exactly. Why you should come to Dhamma school. And then what else did we learn? Anyone else remember? So last week, we learned why you guys should be coming to Dhamma school. And if you guys have a book and pencil, you should take that out and be ready to write down notes. And we discussed why is it we're learning the Dhamma? And then the answer was, we're learning this Dhamma as a solution. What's the problem then? The problem is that we're facing a future where we're going to end up passing away. We're going to end up dying. But before we pass away, we're going to have to face some difficulties. That means we're going to have to face some suffering in this life. All of us here, we're all going to have to get sick. Now, these children have probably gotten sick before, but don't think that was the last time. Don't think I won't get sick again. You will for sure get sick again. And then all of us here, we're all going to end up growing old. Even though, just compare with your parents. Your parents had an age where they were like you. They were as young as you, and they also probably went to some Dhamma school and learned things. But now they've gotten older. They've grown older. And for sure, that'll happen to us as well. There will come a day when you might be sending your children to Dhamma school. So all of us are going to have to grow old. And then eventually, all of us are going to have to pass away. So in order to find a solution to this problem, that is, to find an escape from this journey of samsara, is why we learn the Dhamma. And then last time we learned that the Supreme Buddha taught that the beginning, the first step in learning the Dhamma and practicing the Dhamma is what? It's respect and obedience. Do you guys remember that? Did you guys write that down at least? We learned, if you haven't written it down, then write that down. The first step is respect and obedience. And you will go through a bit of what we learned last time. We learned that when someone has respect and obedience, then they fulfill the factor of proper conduct. So you should write that down. If someone has respect and obedience, then they fulfill the factor of proper conduct. And then what is the factor of proper conduct? That means loving kindness by body, loving kindness by speech, and loving kindness by mind. And we talked about an example about that. And I asked the children to think of a butterfly. Do you guys remember that? When you think of a butterfly, what do you think? What comes to mind? You guys can write it on the chat. Someone said beautiful.
It's gorgeousness.
Okay, it's gorgeous. So when you guys think of a butterfly, you guys said innocent, beautiful, pretty, gorgeous. And now, when you think of a butterfly, you think of those things. Now think of a mosquito. When you think of a mosquito, what comes to mind? Annoying, harmful, not innocent. Now, blood-sucking insect, okay? Now, we said that if someone has respect and obedience, what becomes fulfilled? The factor of proper conduct. Now, the factor of proper conduct was what? Loving kindness by body, loving kindness by speech, and loving kindness by mind. Now, have you guys ever killed a butterfly? Just shake your head, yes or no? No. But have you guys ever killed a mosquito? Yes, most of these children have. So what was the reason? Why was there a difference? When you recalled the butterfly, what happened? What came to mind? You said innocent, beautiful, harmless. What are those? Those are the butterfly's good qualities. So when you recollected good qualities, that animal became pleasing to you. Isn't that what happened? And then what about the mosquito? You said harmful, annoying, blood-sucking. What are those? Those are that animal's bad qualities. So what happened when you thought about bad qualities? That animal became unpleasant. Because it became unpleasant, what did we end up losing? We lost respect and obedience for the mosquito. But for the butterfly, we had respect and obedience. And what did we say happens when you lose respect and obedience? The next step is the factor of proper conduct. So you guys should have that written down. If someone has respect and obedience, then they fulfill the factor of proper conduct. So if someone doesn't have respect and obedience, then they don't fulfill it. That's why when we recall a mosquito, when we thought about that mosquito, we ended up killing it. There's no loving kindness by body. There's no loving kindness by speech. When you guys say the qualities of a mosquito, what comes to mind? What did you guys say? You said bad qualities. No one here said anything good about it. And then when you think about the mosquito, it's unpleasant. And there's no loving kindness by mind. So this is what we discussed last week. Now today, we're going to be learning something that helps us. So before we learn that, so you guys should have written down, the first step is respect and obedience. Then the next step, if someone has respect and obedience, is the factor of proper conduct. And how does someone come to respect and obedience? It's by recollecting good qualities. For the children that were here, do you guys remember this? What we learned last time? Just shake your head, yes or no. Since most children don't remember, I'm going to do another reminder. We gave an example of our mom. We said, think about your mother. What do you remember when you think about your mom? You think she took care of me when I was sick. She sent me to school. She fed me. She raised me. So what are those? Look at what you wrote down and then look at what we're saying. What are we saying? We're saying good qualities about our mom. When we're saying good qualities, what happens? When we think about our mom, do we get an unpleasant feeling or a pleasant feeling? We get a pleasant feeling. Now, when your mom asks you to do something, are we inclined to say yes? Or are we inclined to say no? We usually help our mom. We talk to our mom. So that means we have respect and obedience for our mother. And because we have respect and obedience, what happens? We end up having loving kindness by body. The factor of proper conduct fulfills. We have loving kindness by body. If she asks for help, we help her. And then when she speaks to us, we speak to her. And then when we think about our mom, it's pleasant. Now think of a time when you guys got yelled at by your mom. When your mom got mad and then yelled at you. Now what did you think? Now we thought our mom is against us. Our mom is not on our side. And then when you thought about your mom, what happened? Was it pleasant or unpleasant now? It's unpleasant. So what happened? We end up losing the respect and obedience. That means what? If you have no respect and obedience, you don't have the factor of proper conduct. That means when your mom asks for help, you're not inclined to help her. You don't want to help her. When your mom talks to you, you don't want to talk to her. And then when you think about your mom, it's unpleasant. So what was the reason that happened? The reason was, at one point, we were reflecting good qualities about our mother. And the other time, we were reflecting bad qualities. So the difference here is reflecting good qualities and bad qualities. Now, a sutta that we should learn, discourse that we need to learn, that helps us to recollect good qualities, is understanding how people talk to us. Now, a lot of times when someone yells at us, when someone makes fun of us, when someone's mean to us, we end up getting angry. We end up getting upset. We end up bearing a grudge. That means in the future, no matter when we see that person, we get mad at them. So today we're going to learn a discourse that the Supreme Buddha taught. And this discourse is called the 𝘾𝙤𝙣𝙑 Sutta. What's it called? 𝘾𝙤𝙣𝙑 Sutta. That means the simile of the saw. So you guys should write this down. We're learning the 𝘾𝙤𝙣𝙑 Sutta, which means the simile of the saw. Now, in the Supreme Buddha's time, there was a monk named 𝘾𝙤𝙣𝙑. What was his name? 𝘾𝙤𝙑𝙑. Now, at that time, that monk ended up becoming really, really friendly with the nuns. He always talked to them. He was friends with them. He always visited them. And then what happened was, anytime the other monks said something bad about the nuns, he would get mad. He would get angry. And then if anyone talked badly about 𝘾𝙤𝙑𝙑 in front of the nuns, they would get mad. They would get angry. So this was because they became too friendly. They visited each other too much. So a certain monk went and told the Supreme Buddha that this was happening. And then the Supreme Buddha called the monk and asked, is it true that this is happening, that you get angry when someone makes fun of the nuns? You get angry when someone talks badly about the nuns? Are you that friendly with them that this happens? And 𝘾𝙤𝙑𝙑 said, yes, Supreme Buddha, that's true. And then the monk yells at the monk. The Supreme Buddha advises the monk this way. He says, it's not proper for you. It's not good for you. After you left your home behind, after you left your parents, your friends, all your wealth, after you left all that behind, it's not proper for you to go and speak to the nuns in this way. It's not proper for you to become so friendly with the nuns. So you should train like this. If anyone speaks badly about the nuns in your presence, this is how you should think. I won't let my mind be affected. That means I won't let my mind change. I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassion for the person who's speaking, and I'll have a mind of loving kindness without hate. This is how the Supreme Buddha teaches the monk to think. Now, after that, the Supreme Buddha teaches, even if someone was to not just speak badly about the monk, about the nuns, but if someone was to hit them with their hands, if someone was to hit them with dirt and stones, if someone was to even hit them with a knife, this is how you should think. I won't let my mind change. I won't let it be affected. If I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassion and loving kindness for this person without hate. This is how the Supreme Buddha teaches the monk to think. And then after this, the Supreme Buddha says, monks, there were some times when in the past, so this is still the Buddha's time, but in the past, in that short time, the Supreme Buddha teaches, at one point, the monks made me happy because I didn't have to teach them a lot. All I had to do was say, monks, train this way, train that way, and the monks would learn by themselves. They would act accordingly. For example, the Supreme Buddha taught the monks, monks, I only eat once a day. By doing so, I'm free from sickness. That means I'm healthy, I'm free from illness. And because of that, I live comfortably, and I have strength, and I have lightness. That means my body feels light. And I taught this to the monks, and those monks willingly accepted it. They said, okay, and they also did that. And they were able to be mindful. They were able to practice the Dhamma very easily. I didn't have to constantly keep telling them. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches a simile for this. The Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine there was a chariot. What's there? Do you guys know what a chariot is? Chariot is, it's like a cart that's attached to horses. Usually has 2 wheels. Have you guys seen one? So the Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine there's a chariot. And then attached to that chariot are some horses. But these horses are very, very special. These are thoroughbred horses. Thoroughbred horses means that they're very, very pure. They're like the best of the best horses. So these amazing horses are attached to this chariot. And then a skilled chariot driver, a skilled trainer comes to this chariot, and he takes hold of the chariot, the reins, and he can go wherever he wants because all the roads around are smooth. Now, this person can do this easily because all the things required, the chariot is good, the horses are good, the road is good. So all he has to do is just take the reins and go wherever he wants. And in the same way, the Supreme Buddha teaches, those monks, I didn't have to keep telling them over and over again. They simply, as soon as I advised them once, they listened. They practiced the Dhamma. And the Supreme Buddha teaches, we should train this way. You should abandon unwholesome things. What should you abandon? Unwholesome things. And develop wholesome states. Develop wholesome things. That means get rid of bad things in our life and develop good things. This is talking about in our mind. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches another simile. Imagine there was a park. The Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine there's a park. And here he gives the example of sal trees. But imagine there's a park with trees. And then in that same park, there are some bad plants. There are some poisonous plants. Plants that wrap around the tree, the good trees, and take all the nutrients. So what's in that park? There are some good trees. Trees that are valuable. Trees that people like. And then in that same park, there are some plants that grow around this tree. They grow around the trees, and take all the nutrients and end up killing the good trees. So what does someone do? Someone who wants the good trees to survive, he comes with an axe and he cuts down all the bad trees. He cuts down the poisonous plants. And then he straightens the good ones and gives them nourishment and lets them grow. And in the same way, the Supreme Buddha teaches, just like someone removes the bad trees and lets the good ones grow, you should remove unwholesome states, unwholesome things in your mind, and develop good ones. You should develop good qualities. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches a little story. In Savatthi, the Supreme Buddha teaches, there was a servant named Vedahika. What was her name? Vedahika. And that servant had a master, and that master had a reputation like this. People talked about the master like this. The master is really, really gentle, is really, really innocent, is really, really kind. And people talked about the master in this way. And then the servant had an idea like this. The servant thought, I want to test if that's true or not. So what did the servant do? The next day, the servant slept in. So normally she wakes up before the master, she does all the chores. But the next day she thought, I'm going to test if this reputation is true or not. I'm going to sleep in. So she slept in a few hours late. So she slept in more than less. She was supposed to wake up at 5. She slept till 6 or 7. So the master came and asked her, are you sick? Are you upset? What's wrong? Why are you sleeping in? And she said, I'm not sick. I'm not upset. I just felt like sleeping some more. And the master got upset. She said, why would you do that? How do you think that's normal to do? Why do you think that's suitable? And she got angry. And then the servant thought, I want to test this some more. I want to see if she's really still innocent, gentle, or kind. So the next day, on the second day, she slept in even more. She slept until like 8 or 9. The master came and she got even more angry. But she didn't say anything else. She just got angry, yelled at her, and didn't do anything else. And then the servant thought, I'm going to test this again. And she slept in a third day. But this time the master came and she was angry and said, why are you sleeping in? Are you sick? Are you upset? And she said, no, I just felt like sleeping in. So the master took a rolling pin and hit the servant on the head. And what did the servant do? She ran out of the house into the street with her head bleeding and said to all the neighbors, look at how my master treats me. You all said she was kind, gentle, and innocent. But that's not true. She's really angry, rough, and upset. She's not innocent. And then after that, all the neighbors, all the people in that village knew that that master really wasn't innocent, really wasn't kind, really wasn't gentle. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches, in the same way, I don't say someone is gentle or kind or innocent when only good things are happening in this life. That means when in our life, when we only have good things, that means we don't have a fight, no one's yelled at us, we have all the things we want, then we might be kind, innocent, and gentle. But then as soon as something goes wrong, as soon as something that you like disappears, as soon as someone yells at you, if you change from being kind, innocent, and gentle, then you truly aren't kind, innocent, and gentle. Supreme Buddha teaches that's how I check if someone is truly that way. And he says, specifically for the monks, I don't say that a monk is truly kind, gentle, and peaceful as long as he's getting robes, medicine, food, and a place to stay. But even if when that monk loses those things, when he doesn't get any robes, when he doesn't get food, when he doesn't get a place to stay, and he doesn't get medicine, if even then he's kind, gentle, and innocent, then I say that monk is easy to advise. So the Supreme Buddha teaches, make yourself easy to advise, because it's by getting advice that we develop. It's by learning things from others that we become a better person. It's because of that advice that we develop in this way. Then the Supreme Buddha teaches, now you guys should write this down. The Supreme Buddha teaches there are 5 types of speech that someone might use with you. How many types? There are 5 types of speech that someone might use with you. That means whenever someone is talking to you, even now, as I'm talking to you, my speech falls into one of these 5. So the Supreme Buddha teaches, the first one is, the speech could be timely or untimely. What's the first one? Timely or untimely. Now, what does that mean? Timely or untimely means someone can, for example, let's say it's someone's birthday. Someone might wish you on your birthday, or someone might wish you after or before it's your birthday. So if someone wishes you after and you get mad, that's untimely speech. That means the person wished you after. And sometimes, for example, let's say you guys have homework due tomorrow. Someone might remind you after the due date, and you might get upset. Why didn't you remind me earlier, you might say. So that falls under untimely speech. So there's timely and untimely. That's the first one. The second type of speech is true or untrue. The second is true or untrue. So the person speaking to you might be telling you the truth, or they might be lying to you. That's the second one. Then the third type of speech is the speech might be gentle or harsh. That means it might be kind or mean. This person speaking to you might use gentle speech or harsh speech. That's the third one. So the first is timely or untimely. The second is true or untrue. And the third is gentle or harsh. Then the fourth one is, it might be good. It might be for someone's good, or it might be for someone's harm. That includes you. So it might be for someone's good, or it might be for someone's harm. That's the fourth one. For someone's good or for someone's harm. And then finally, the Supreme Buddha teaches that speech could be with loving kindness or with hatred. With loving kindness or with hatred. Did anyone miss one of the 5? If you did, raise your hands. I'll repeat them again. The first one is timely or untimely. The second is true or untrue. The third is gentle or harsh. The fourth is for someone's good or for someone's harm. And then finally, the fifth one is with loving kindness or with hatred. That's the 5 types of speech. That means no matter when someone is talking to you, it could be your parents, it could be your friends, it could be a relative, it could be someone you dislike, it could be someone you don't know, it could be a stranger. No matter when someone is talking to you, their speech falls into one of these five, falls into one of these categories. That is, it might be timely or untimely. It might be true or untrue. It might be gentle or harsh. It might be for your or someone's good, or for your or for someone's harm. And it might be spoken with loving kindness, or it might be spoken with hatred. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches this. This is the important part. You guys should definitely write this part down as well. The Supreme Buddha teaches, no matter what kind of speech someone uses, it means no matter how someone talks to us, this is how we should think. So write down, no matter how someone talks to me, I should think like this. No matter how someone talks to me, I should think like this. My mind will be unchanged. My mind will be unchanged. That means you don't let your mind change. My mind will be unchanged. I won't speak any evil words. My mind will be unchanged. I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassion and loving kindness for that person. So what's the first? I won't let my mind change. I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassion and loving kindness for that person. Everyone has that down? And then this is what the Supreme Buddha teaches you should do. You think in that way, and then you spread loving kindness to the person talking to you. So you start with that person, and then from there you spread loving kindness to all the beings. That means you slowly go work your way up. You say, may this person be free from anger. May this person be free from ill will, jealousy. You spread loving kindness that way. And then you think, may all the beings in this house or that place, may all the beings in this city, may all the beings in this province, country, in this world. Slowly you work your way up. Does everyone understand that? If you don't, raise your hand. Which part don't you understand? Unpleasant feelings? From what we just said? Everyone understand? Okay. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches, this is how. Okay, someone said, can you tell from the beginning? Okay, so you should write down, this is how I should think when someone speaks to me. First you think, I won't let my mind change. I won't speak any evil words. I won't let my mind change. I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassion and loving kindness for this person. I will have compassion and loving kindness for this person. And then starting with that person, you spread loving kindness to all beings. So you work your way up. You start with that person, then you think, may all the beings in this house, may all the beings in this city, in this province, in this country, in this world, and you work your way up to all beings. Then the Supreme Buddha, does everyone understand that? And then the Supreme Buddha gives a few similes for this, on how your mind should be when someone speaks to you. That means no matter if someone yells at you or praises you, this is how your mind should be. Now the Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine there's a person who comes with a shovel and a basket. Okay, someone asked for the types of speech. I'm going to repeat it once more. There's 5 types of speech. The first is timely or untimely. The second is true or untrue. The third is gentle or harsh. And then connect, that means for someone's good or for someone's harm. And then with loving kindness or with hatred. And then this is how you should think. You think, no matter who speaks to me, when someone speaks to me, this is how I will think. I won't let my mind change. I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassion and loving kindness for this person. And then starting with that person, you spread loving kindness, working your way up to all beings. That means starting from that person, you think, may all the beings in this city, in this province, in this country, in this world, may all beings be free from anger, ill will, jealousy, and so forth. Okay? And then the Supreme Buddha gives a simile for this. A few similes. The first, the Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine someone comes with a shovel and a basket. And he thinks like this, I'm going to make the earth be without earth. He thinks, I'm going to remove all the dirt from this earth. And he starts digging. He starts digging, starts moving soil here, starts moving soil there. He digs a hole here, he digs a hole there. Now, can he ever do this? Can he ever remove all the dirt from the earth? No, in the end, what will happen? He'll eventually become tired and disappointed. In the same way, the Supreme Buddha teaches, no matter what kind of speech someone uses with us, so no matter which of the 5 types of speech someone uses with us, our mind should be unchanged. You should think, I won't let my mind change. I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassion and loving kindness for this person. And then starting with him, you spread loving kindness, working your way up to all beings. And then Supreme Buddha teaches another simile. Imagine someone comes with paint, all kinds of colors, red, purple, blue, yellow, all colors. And he comes and says, I'm going to start drawing in the air. I'm going to make a picture in the air. Can he do that? No, what's the reason he can't do that? Because you can't draw on air. Eventually, that person will just become tired and disappointed. And in the same way, this is how you should think. No matter what kind of speech someone uses with me, I won't let my mind change. And then Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine someone came with a grass torch. Now, a grass torch means someone takes some dry grass and then he lights it on fire. And then he goes to a river and thinks, I'm going to remove all the water. I'm going to heat up all the water and remove it. I'm going to burn all the water in this river with this grass that's on fire. Is that possible? No, it's not possible. Why is that? Because you can't ever burn up a river with some grass on fire. In the same way, you should think, no matter what kind of speech someone uses with me, I won't ever let my mind change. So we learned 3 similes so far. First was the simile with the earth. So one thing is I'm going to remove all the dirt on this earth. And it's not possible. Then we learned I'm going to draw on the air. And this also not possible. And then third one was I'm going to burn away the river with some grass that's on fire, with a grass torch. That's also not possible. Rehan, you have a question?
Sir,
Yes.
sometimes now before this, did you notice something that two Rehan Gamages? Did you notice something like that?
No, but you can ask this question after, okay? I didn't notice that.
Actually, there were two because I joined from this.
Okay.
I joined from this.
That's good. Tell me this after. So the Supreme Buddha teaches, we learned 3 similes so far. The first was with earth. The second was with someone painting in the air. And then the third one was the simile of someone trying to burn away the river with a grass torch. And then the Supreme Buddha teaches another simile. Now in the Buddhist time, there was a special type of bag called a cat skin bag. Now this bag can only be made once it's smoothed out. That means all the wrinkles are removed and the bag becomes really, really smooth. And the Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine someone came and said, I'm going to make this cat skin bag have wrinkles. I'm going to make it crack. Now, is it possible to do that? No, it's not possible because that bag is really, really smooth. No one can make it wrinkle. No one can make it crack. In the same way, no matter what kind of speech someone uses with you, you should think, I won't let my mind change. I won't let it be affected. And then finally, the Supreme Buddha teaches, imagine some bandits come. That means some thieves come and they grab you and they start cutting your limbs off. That means they start cutting your arms and your legs off with a saw. What do? Some bandits come and they start cutting your limbs off, your legs, your arms. They start cutting them off with a saw. Now, is that something pleasant or unpleasant? It's something unpleasant. Unimaginably, we can't even think how painful that must be. But the Supreme Buddha teaches, if someone, even then, if someone, when their arms and legs are being cutting off, if they get angry, if they speak evil words, then that person isn't following my teaching. Even if someone's cutting your arms and legs off and you get angry, then the Supreme Buddha teaches that person isn't following what I taught. The Supreme Buddha taught, even then, even if someone's cutting your arms off with a saw, your legs off with a saw, you should spread loving kindness towards that person. You should think, I won't let my mind change. I won't speak any evil words. I will have compassionate and loving kindness for this person. Then starting with that person, you spread loving kindness to all beings, working your way up. And Supreme Buddha teaches, if someone keeps this simile, the simile of the saw, in their mind, if they constantly think about it, then is there anything that we can't have patience towards? Is there anything that you will get angry about? No, because if someone actually thinks in this way, if someone actually thinks, even if someone's cutting my arms and legs off, I won't get mad, then what does he have to get mad over? There's nothing that he can't have patience with. Even if someone's yelling at you, that person will have patience. Now, our Supreme Buddha in his past lives practiced this. In one life, the Supreme Buddha was born to a Brahmin family. And then after his parents passed away, he gained all the wealth in the house, and he thought all the people that collected this wealth, that means my parents added to this wealth, my grandparents added to this wealth, my grandparents' parents added to this. All the people that added to this are now gone. They passed away, they died. But none of those people took any of the money that's here. They didn't take anything with them. So then what's the point in me keeping all of this? Eventually I'm going to die, and all of this wealth is going to disappear. It's going to be passed down. So the Supreme Buddha, so this Bodhisattva thought, I'm going to get rid of all this wealth, and he gave it away. He gave it away to virtuous people in the city. He gave away everything, and then went and became an ascetic. He went and lived in the forest. And then after a while of living in the forest, during the rainy seasons, during the time when it started to rain, he came down to the city. He came down from the mountains and the forest to the city. And then he took his residence. He started staying in the royal park, the king's park. Now, one day after the king had drunk alcohol and he was really, really intoxicated, he came to the park with some musicians and some dancers. Some of the women that were musicians and some dancers. And because he was so intoxicated, the king fell asleep. Now, what happened? The women that were dancing and singing thought, there's no point singing and dancing. The king's asleep. So they went and started walking around the park. And they saw the Bodhisattva. They saw the ascetic. They sat down near him and said, please teach us something. So the Bodhisattva started teaching them what he knew. And then the king suddenly woke up. And he asked one of the women that were there, where did all the other people go? Where did all the other women go? And the woman that was there said, they went and they're now listening to some ascetic teaching them something. They're listening to some discourse. And the king got really, really mad. He took up his sword and ran there. And the women that were sitting there saw the king coming, and they slowly went and took away the sword from him. And then the king came to the Bodhisattva and asked him, ascetic, what is it that you teach? What is it that you were teaching these people? And he said, King, I was teaching the doctrine of patience. I was teaching them what patience was. And then the king asked, then what is patience? What do you think patience is? And the Bodhisattva said, King, patience is no matter when someone yells at us, no matter when someone hits us, we don't get angry. That's what patience is. And the king said, okay, let's see if you truly have patience or not. So he called his executioner. Executioner means at that time, there were someone who would kill all the people, all the criminals that the king wanted to kill. So the king just called the executioner and he would say, kill this person, kill that person. And that was his job. So the king called his executioner, and the executioner came and said, what is it you want to do, king? The king said, hit this ascetic with a sharp rope with thorns. So a rope that has thorns attached. Whip this ascetic 2,000 times, front and back. And the executioner did that. He hit the Bodhisattva front and back with that rope with thorns. And the king asked, ascetic, what do you teach? And the Bodhisattva said, King, I teach a doctrine of patience. Did you think my patience was in my skin? No, it's deep within my heart. And then the king said to the executioner, cut off his hands. And the executioner took his axe and cut off the ascetic's hands. And then he said, "What is it you teach?" The Bodhisattva said, "I teach the doctrine of patience." And then the king said, "Cut off his feet." And he cut off his feet. Still, the Bodhisattva said, "I teach the doctrine of patience." Did you think that my patience was within my hands and feet? No, it's deep within my heart. And then finally the king said, "Cut off his ears and his nose." And then finally the king got mad, kicked the Bodhisattva, kicked the ascetic in the chest, and walked away. And as the Bodhisattva was there, bleeding, one of the king's main people in the kingdom, the commander-in-chief, came and put bandages on the ascetic's arms and legs and said, "Please, ascetic, don't be angry with all the people in the city. Only be angry with the king." And the Bodhisattva said, "Long live the king. May the king have a long life. People like me, people like us, don't get angry when something like this happens." So even when the Bodhisattva's arms and feet were cut off, he still didn't get angry. He still didn't say anything evil to that king, even though the king did something very, very wrong. And then finally, as soon as the king passed away from the Bodhisattva's line of sight, as soon as the Bodhisattva couldn't see the king anymore, the earth opened up and the king fell into Avici, hell. So from that story, from that Jataka, we can see that even the Bodhisattva in his past lives, he practiced this. He practiced this for many, many lives in order to become a Supreme Buddha. So the Bodhisattva was someone who had incredible patience. So today you guys learned the 𝘾𝙤𝙣𝗶𝗹 Sutta, and if anyone has a question on what we learned today, you guys can ask that now. Does anyone have a question? You can raise your hand and ask. Mahi, do you have a question?
Did the king ask the executor with anger?
The executor.
When he asked the Buddha, the Supreme Buddha, what did you learn from? What did you teach the ladies?
This is not the Buddha. This is the Buddha in a past life. He's just a Bodhisattva. The king asks him, "What did you teach? What do you teach? What were you teaching?"
King asked with anger? Did the king ask with anger?
Yes, he was mad because the people that were supposed to be there had left him.
Why didn't he fall asleep?
And he fell asleep because he drank a lot of alcohol. He was intoxicated. Anyone else have a question? Evan, you have a question?
Swamin Vahanse, did the king execute call the executor with anger, but the king did a very bad thing. So as the king went to hell, is it bad to cut off limbs of people?
So if the first question is, did the king angrily call the executioner? And the answer is yes. He was angry at the Bodhisattva. And yes, cutting off someone's arms and feet is a very, very bad thing to do. Because just imagine, do you like if your arms and feet were cut off? No. So doing that to someone else, no one would like that. So someone asked, how do you spell 𝘾𝙤𝙣𝗶𝗹? I'll write it in the chat so everyone can see. Anyone else have a question?
So Swami Mahamsa, during the story, I noticed that it's not the king who's actually cutting. It's the king who's saying to cut off the limbs, but it's the
Yes.
executioner who's actually cutting off the limbs. So, so does the executioner also go like get a sin for doing that?
Yes. So
He does not have intention to.
no, but he knows what he's doing. So his intention is there.
So like,
So he also collects bad demerit.
so like, isn't he like forced to like? It's like his job to listen to the king, or like
Yeah, but he can. Someone chooses to be an executioner, right? Just like in the world, there are people who choose to slaughter animals, right?
Yeah.
That's their choice. No one forced them. No one said you have to do this.
Yeah.
So he still collects bad karma. Anyone else have a question?
Swaminatha, why did the king was mad at the bodhisattva just because the people left him?
Because the king was intoxicated, right? So when someone drinks alcohol, when someone's intoxicated, they can't think clearly. And some people are just evil by nature. Some people are just mean by, that's just how they are. So the king, when he saw that the people that were supposed to be with him had left, he got really, really upset. He got mad. That's why. Any other questions?
Swaminatha,
Yes.
in the story you said that the king was mad at the person who he told the executor to cut off his arms and all, right?
Yes.
Why was the king angry at him in the first place?
Because remember, he woke up and he saw that all the dancers and singers that were supposed to be entertaining him had left. So he got upset that they left instead of staying there. Right? Makes sense? Okay. One more question. Prabhashwara?
Swami Mahanse. Now
Yes.
the king went to hell now. So that means in every birth of the king, does he may not have any arms or legs?
Well, it is not said there, but it might be that in the births after he was born, he might have born without arms and legs. So in
As
the
a
past, in that
punishment for what
Jataka,
he did in this past birth.
yes, not as a punishment, but as something, as a result of the karma he collected. But it doesn't say in the Jatakas that happened. But that was Devadatta in a past life, that king. Okay, and I'll take Mayomi's question since you had your hand up for a long time.
So, what type of hell did the king go to?
He went to the worst one. He went to Avicii hell. It's called Avicii. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
If anyone has more questions, they can ask at the very end. Now we're going to practice some meditation and then share merits. And then after that, if someone still has a question, they can ask. Okay, so everyone sit back in your chair without resting your head. Don't rest your head against the chair. Sit straight. And then everyone close their eyes. Close your eyes and think like this. Tell your mind, for all the other days, you think however you wanted to think. You do whatever you wanted to do. And I let you do that. But for these next few minutes, let me find some inner happiness. Let me find some inner peace. Let me focus on this meditation. Now, as you do this, you might hear something. You might see something. You might think of something. But let all of those things go. For these next few minutes, just think that I'm going to practice this meditation, and I'm going to do my best to focus on it. So if your mind wanders, come back to the meditation. And now think in this way. May I be free from anger. May I be free from ill will. May I be free from jealousy. May I be free from mental suffering. May I be free from physical suffering. May I live in peace. May I live happily. May all beings in this house be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, be free from mental suffering, be free from physical suffering. May they live in peace. May they live happily. May all beings in this city be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, be free from mental suffering, be free from physical suffering. May they live in peace. May they live happily. May all beings in this province be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, be free from mental suffering, be free from physical suffering. May they live in peace. May they live happily. May all beings in this country be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, be free from mental suffering, be free from physical suffering. May they live in peace. May they live happily. May all beings in this world be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, be free from mental suffering, be free from physical suffering. May they live in peace. May they live happily. May all beings be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, Be free from mental suffering. Be free from physical suffering. May they live in peace. May they live happily. May all beings live happily. Live happily. Live happily. Live happily. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we're gonna share